mention the fact that they can become impacted, which is just a whole bundle of fun. They currently serve no benefit or use to us other than for doctors who get to bill you for pulling them out. Believe that wisdom teeth may have been important for our earlier human ancestors in order to break down certain vegetation when ingesting them. However, today they're really just a reason for you to go full chipmunk while on pain meds. Number 2 are male nipples. Oh, that's what those are. The nipple's main use for a woman is obvious. It's to feed newborn babies like other mammals do. But on a man, they literally serve no purpose. They're just kind of chilling there, taking up space on your body. Now, although they have no functional reason for being there, genetically, for roughly 6 weeks between conception and until sexual differentiation, every human fetus looks identical. Scientists have determined that the female template is the default for all humans. So we all begin forming with nipples, and since having them does not change our ability to further evolve or reproduce, there's no need for natural evolution to remove them. Well, I can tell it's cold in here right now. There's a function it serves. Number 3 is coccyx. The coccyx, also known as the tailbone, is the last set of vertebrae in the spine. Other than absorbing the impact of you falling flat on your butt, it serves no purpose for being there in your body. The most likely reason that we all have these is because our ancient ancestors may have had, believe it or not, some form of tail. It's useful for balancing when walking on 4 legs. However, as we evolved and started to walk on 2 legs, the tailbone basically became useless. Now, you can get it surgically removed, but it's unnecessary as it's not hurting you in any way. It just kind of exists. That is, unless of course you have a longer one than normal, in which case you may want to have your tail nub removed, lest you be mocked at the beach. Or keep it, wag that nub. Number 4 are your sinuses. Okay, I have allergies in the summer and I get stuffed up in the winter. I can't win. This one might just surprise you because you probably thought your sinuses were actually useful to you in some way. But the truth is, nobody can actually explain why we still have them. Research suggests that for survival, an earlier generation of humans may have had a heightened sense of smell due to having nasal sinuses lined with odor receptors. But today, these large cavities in our heads just fill with mucus and cause us headaches. Now, some scientists have hypothesized that sinuses may exist to moisten the air that we breathe, or perhaps even enhance our voices, but no solid evidence has ever been collected regarding this. Number 5 is the gallbladder. The gallbladder causes a whole lot of issues for a whole lot of people, and there's simply no reason for it existing. A small pouch that's just under the liver, the gallbladder is basically a warehouse of bile that's been secreted by the liver, squeezing it out into the small intestine when it's needed. Oh, Jesus. But though the bile does have a benefit, helping to break down fats for digestion, the gallbladder isn't essential at all. In fact, it does a lot more harm than good. It's prone to conditions like gallbladder cancer, cholecystitis, which is inflammation of the gallbladder, and gallstones, which are very painful and can lead to pancreatitis. Gallbladder doesn't quite do it anymore. I feel like we should rename this to nightmare pouch. Number 6 are the tonsils. Part of the lymphatic system, which is an essential part of the immune system. Tonsils are a pair of small lymph nodes in the throat. See them back there? There's one on each side on the back of the tongue, and they're actually one of the first lines of defense against respiratory infections. However, their existence is technically redundant. There are literally hundreds of lymph nodes in your body, so when your tonsils become infected or inflamed, as they often do, it comes as no surprise when the doctor says we got to just cut them out. It's a procedure that will literally make no difference to your well-being. Number 7 are extrinsic ear muscles. Yep, your ears have muscles, in case you ever want to do ear push-ups. The extrinsic ear muscles are 3 muscles, the superior, the posterior, and the anterior that surround the outer ear. On animals like rabbits and dogs, these muscles make sense because they're used to move the ears independently of their heads. But us, not so much. Scientists believe that ancient humans may have used them for some other ability, but for us, no. If you've ever seen someone wiggle their ears, this is due to those muscles existing. You see that? Oh yeah, you see those skills? But in truth, they serve no secondary purpose, and quite frankly, beyond entertainment, they serve none at all. Number 8 is the appendix. The appendix is a 5 to 10 centimeter long worm-like protrusion that is attached to the large intestine, almost exactly where the large and small intestines meet. But what's unique about this particular body part is that unlike the other body parts on this list, where scientists kind of have an idea where it came from, when it comes to the appendix, they literally have no clue. Their best guess is that it used to have some function, but that function was probably lost through evolution. Basically, its only purpose now is to become a ticking time bomb where one day it could become inflamed, which causes appendicitis, and if you don't get it taken out, you die. Luckily, since you don't need it at all, you can get this taken out at any time. Number 9 is the Erector pili. Have you ever seen a dog or a cat puff out their fur when they're afraid or angry? Well, that's what this is. When an animal puffs out their hair or fur, most often it's to insulate their bodies for warmth or to scare off other creatures. Get away, I'm bigger than I look! The Erector pili are a bunch of smooth muscle fibers attached to the hair follicles that allow them to do that. So, it makes sense for animals, but for humans? Well, if you're hairy enough to do what a cat or dog does, then that's a whole nother set of issues. Human beings have these muscles, and our bodies are able to contract them in order to make our hair stand on end. Or, in other words, goosebumps. However, since we clearly don't have enough hair on our bodies to form decent insulation, the Erector pili that we do have are basically useless. Unless you're this guy. He has more than enough Erector pili to stay warm. And number 10 is body hair. Speaking of body hair, what exactly does it do? I mean, we do so much to deal with it. Shave it, wax it, pluck it off of us. I mean, I hate body hair so much, I'm glad it left my head. It was totally a choice. From an evolutionary standpoint, our ancestors had more hair than us in order to protect them from the elements and to stay warm. Additionally, scientists hypothesize that it may have helped protect from infections received from tactile contact. Today, however, it merely serves for cosmetic use, aka Beard Game Strong. Look at that, look at that. It's like a reverse Chia Pet or a reverse Play-Doh machine. You push down, hair comes out here. Okay, I'll stop. So those were 10 useless body parts you have for no reason. I want to give a big thank you to Audible for sponsoring this video. They have an unmatched selection of audiobooks, original shows, and more for nearly all devices like iPhones, Androids, iPads, tablets, etc. Audiobooks are
Tell my mama that I'm a traveler.
Hey, I'm sorry that I missed 2 videos in a row. I had to get a gerbil removed from my butt. No, I'm just kidding. I actually moved to LA, but I am open to new things. If you've ever met a nurse, they've probably been able to tell you more than one nightmare story of something or someone that they've dealt with. I once had a nurse friend of mine tell me about a patient that ripped their catheter out. Keep it together, Matt. But as gross as those stories are, they're day-to-day occurrences. Nothing that would go down in the history books. Not like the following stories, anyway. From things being swallowed, to things being crammed in unsunny places, to creatures finding a new home within people, gerbils, there's really no limit to the amount of that you're about to experience. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. These are the 10 craziest things found inside living people. For the record, I was joking about the gerbil thing. Please don't make memes. Number 1 is a plant. Plants. They make oxygen for us, provide us with nourishment, and sometimes are pretty good at defending our phones from zombie apocalypses, am I right? However, they're also very good at finding a way into the human body in disturbing ways, which could literally leave you dying for air. In early August of 2010, 75-year-old Ronan Seveden of Cape Cod, Massachusetts, was at his wit's end with a nagging cough that he had, so fearing that he had a tumor growing inside his lungs, he had a series of x-rays and tests done. And as it turns out, there was something growing, but it was no tumor. It was actually a pea pod. That's right, kids, one more reason not to eat your vegetables. Ronan had somehow inhaled the seed while eating a meal, and with the warmth and moisture inside his body, the pea actually sprouted. See, pea plants actually begin growing by germinating under the soil, with no need for sunlight, so Ronan's lung provided the perfect place to begin the process. Luckily, a surgeon actually was able to remove it, and Ronan continued eating vegetables like a champ. Probably less peas, though. Number 2 is a nail. Hey, here's some free advice. If you ever have yourself a little accident while working and wind up with any foreign object in your brain, do yourself a favor and go to the hospital. It's okay, you can finish building that birdhouse or installing that drywall, whatever you're doing, just take a break and go get it removed. Okay? Okay. That's advice that 32-year-old Dante Atulo could have used on January 20th, 2012, after he accidentally shot himself in the head with a nail gun while building a shed. The Orlando Park, Chicago resident initially thought the doctors were joking when they said what they found in his x-rays, but soon realized that it was actually a miracle that he survived. And this was no small nail. It was actually 7.5 centimeters long and tore right through the middle part of his brain, just millimeters from hitting the part which controlled his motor functions. The thing is that the accident actually occurred days prior, as the man thought that he had just been grazed by the nail, so he cleaned the wound and finished the shed. It spent an incredible 36 36 hours in his brain before nausea finally brought him to the hospital where the embedded nail was discovered. I'm happy to say that surgery was a success. In fact, you could say that the doctors nailed it. I quit. Number 3 is a fish. Okay, there's ow, and then there's ouchie mama. And the latter is definitely the case with this one. In 2007, a 14-year-old boy from India entered a hospital complaining about pain and the inability to go pee-pee. Well, doctors soon discovered why when x-rays revealed that the teen had a 2-centimeter long fish in his bladder. According to the boy, he was cleaning his aquarium and needed to pee, so he did the logical thing and brought the fish with him. But somehow, while emptying his bladder, the fish wiggled free and somehow swam up his, pee hole. Now, first, doctors tried using special force nips, but Nemo was just too darn slippery. So they actually ended up resorting to using a device reserved for removing bladder stones, which actually managed to free the fish and let the boy pee free again. After the fish was removed, the boy was actually admitted into counseling in an attempt to deal with any trauma that he endured. That kid is never gonna eat fish sticks again. Fish sticks. Fish sticks.
Well, stop bouncing around and just go to sleep.